Hey guys, and welcome back to Women Empowerment Wednesday. Today we have the beautiful Angela, and she is actually located out in Colorado, one of the most beautiful states ever that I really want to get back to going to as far as like hiking and everything. You guys have it really nice out there. But she's also a mom, and she's going to be talking about travel today, which you guys know, like I absolutely love all things travel. So this is an exciting episode for me. But Angela, to start us off, can you share a little bit about you, who you are, your life as a wife, a mom of three, and how solo travel became a part of your story?
Well, thank you for having me. I am a blogger and coach at traveltheworldconfidently.com. I'm a wife and a mom, as you said, but my oldest is 28 and I have twins that are 22 years old. And the last one just graduated and left the nest, so I'm a new empty nester. So that's kind of fun.
Mhm.
And so it really it's opening up things that maybe I wasn't able to do before with my adventures. So at Travel the World, I write about traveling solo and, building the confidence to travel solo and just
Mhm.
helping women be able to take those adventures.
Yes, and I think it's so beautiful because even though I've traveled all of my life, I've never taken a solo trip. So that's something that you are inspiring me to do, and something I actually want to do this year. So, what was going on in your life when you felt that need or that pull to travel alone?
To be honest, I don't know if there was like ever a moment. I think I've always, I was thinking back when I was younger, I've always kind of had this adventurous type of side of me that I like to
Mm.
go explore. So I think I've always had that. And when my kids were younger, my husband was, great in letting me kind of go do my own thing if I needed a break,
Mhm.
which, with the three kids and twins, sometimes you just need a break. I'm sure a lot of moms
Yes.
can understand that. So I would go for long walks, or I would even go to a coffee shop and journal or kind of do my own thing. So I think from
Mhm.
very early on as a young mom, I took those steps to take the time for myself. And then it just kind of grew over time. So it was nice that my husband once in a while, I didn't do it a lot, maybe a handful of times over all the years where I'd go do an overnighter not too far from home, or maybe I went to a conference for a
Mhm.
couple of nights. So I did these short trips, and
Okay.
it just built from there.
And I love that. And I love that you knew that you had to take time away. And just for, again, your mental health, your peace, your sanity, the quietness, like, especially with three little kids, like, it's important. So, what did taking like that first solo trip feel like emotionally before, during, and then after the trip?
Well, I was trying to think back about what like the biggest solo trip I've taken, because again, I've done a lot of small things, but I think
Hmm.
the one that maybe was a little bit different, and I've done conferences like for work where I would go,
Yeah.
I would stay at the hotel or and it was just
Hmm.
one group of people. But when my oldest went to college, and it was out of state, and I would drive him to school. And I know my
Hmm.
husband's like, "Why do you want to do that?" And it's like, because it's an adventure and I want to like go do something.
Yeah.
So I started getting strategic with this and planning things either like um, maybe right after I dropped him off. It depended if I was dropping him off or picking him up. And
Hmm.
I really enjoyed that, just taking that extra day or two to
Hmm.
have that time for myself. So it really built that muscle of being on the road solo, spending time solo, like in another state or a place I'm not familiar with.
Hmm.
And I think it built my confidence, and it definitely recharged me. And I looked forward to that time where I could spend with my son, of course, the driving back
Right.
and forth, but also that time on my own.
Yes, and it's nothing like a solo drive. Like it's so peaceful. The furthest I've driven by myself, I think was from North Carolina to Chicago. So it's about like a 10-hour drive. But again, like that peace that you get within yourself. And then when you drive, you get to see everything. Like you're driving through the mountains, you're driving through like the hills. And it's just a beautiful thing to be able to see like different terrain that you don't see at home all the time. So that was good. So with traveling solo, were there any like fears or doubts that came up like for you before you actually did it?
I don't know if there were any fears or doubts. And
Okay.
so talking about the name of, my blog, Travel the World Confidently, I still, even to this day, like I have a trip coming up here, I still have to do like certain things to get myself prepared for the trip.
Okay.
So I'm feeling a
Ready to.
about it. And but I take the trip anyways. I think that's the
Mhm.
key thing. I know, and this is a big part why I started this journey, trying to help other people, is because I know there's a lot of women who want to go take the trips. It's
Mhm.
fun and exciting, but it also sounds scary. And where do you start?
Mhm.
So I have this whole process for myself where I have fun doing the planning, which I think can be a lot of the fun and getting excited.
Mhm.
And then the prep part, so starting in advance and just making sure all my ducks in a row so that by the time I leave, I feel good about leaving and I have everything I need for my trip. So I kind of break it up
Mhm.
into basically how you described it into 3 sections. And then by the time really I'm on the plane or I'm on the road, I'm all good to go. Like I'm not stressed
Mhm.
at all. So it's just a little bit of a process. I don't know where that started, where I used to get like nervous or what
Mhm.
it is. It could be just not the unknown, just not knowing what
Mhm.
to expect or something. I mean, I've had glitches in my trips, so
Yeah.
I would say that's probably part of it because I've had things happen, but we always survive. And yeah, I think every trip I've enjoyed and I haven't had any regrets at all.
Yes, and that's a beautiful thing, and like she was saying, guys, you have to the best way to plan is to actually plan. Like, some people do get up and go, and they're like, "Okay, well, we're just gonna figure it out." I know I'm not like that, like you said, in 3 different stages, so you can alleviate as many issues as possible. Now, you still may have hiccups, stuff happens, but if you try to put as much as in place as possible and just double check everything when you travel. Always make sure you double check, make sure nothing changed, because sometimes like flights and different things like that may change and they don't always notify you. But planning is huge. And again, like you said, travel confidently. So you're preparing yourself, you're planning for a peaceful trip. Really, when you go on these trips, do you feel like you unplug a lot where you like put the phone away and just kind of like sit and be present, or do you feel like you're still kind of like working at the same time?
I do 50-50. So
Okay.
for me personally, I like bringing my laptop and some things to work
Mhm.
on just because I am by myself and it's time where I can just be in my own head and work on
Mhm.
things. So I do enjoy that. But when I take trips, I'm always very intentional about where I go. So I always plan
Mhm.
at least 1 or 2 things that I definitely want to do. And that gives me something to look forward to. So
Mhm.
one other thing I wanted to add was someone shared with me recently, you would think I have heard this before, but I just heard this recently that just that feeling of being nervous, that it could also be that feeling of being excited. So I keep
Mhm.
trying to remind myself of that, and maybe both can be true at the same time, that
Yeah.
be nervous, but it's also exciting too. So I try not to lean into the whole being scared or nervous thing and that it's really I'm excited for the trip. But
Okay.
I definitely need that time to unplug when I'm out, solo traveling on my own because, no dog, no
Mhm.
chores, no house cleaning. It's just nice to just do my own thing and relax.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So then the next question may be able to help like some moms out there. Do you ever experience any guilt with leaving the family? And if you did, like, how did you work through that? Or like, how can you help moms like know like it's okay to take a break for yourself and really enjoy and be present?
Yeah, I think that's probably a big reason why a lot of women do not travel is just
Yeah.
first of all, the logistics of it. It can be a little tricky, especially if you still have kids at home. I totally understand
Mhm.
that. But the mom guilt is a real thing. So
Mhm.
even now, saying I'm an empty nester, I still have a dog at home. So with my upcoming trip, there's still some guilt there, like my
Mhm.
husband having to coordinate with the dog and dropping it off and picking it up. But
Mhm.
it's okay for us to go have time for ourselves. And that's what I keep reminding myself. I'm very
Yes.
helpful with the family. I do a lot for the family. It is okay for the family to help me to go have the time for myself. You're not a bad mom and you're not a bad wife. And I think that's part of what the prep is for me, is making
Mhm.
sure all those things are lined up. Then I don't really
Mhm.
have so much of the guilt because I know I did everything to like get ready for the trip.
Yeah.
And I think it's good for the family to have to like be on that struggle bus a little bit to make things work around the house when you're not there,
Mhm.
because there is kind of an appreciation for mom while she's gone. I think.
That's very, very true. Because like you said, we'll prep, make sure like, okay, you're getting to school, this person is picking you up, you're making it to practice, and we'll do all those things. But when mom is out the picture, it's just like sometimes they don't know what to do. Like, they're like, oh my God, how are we gonna eat? Like, or whatever, how are we getting such and such? So it is like you said, it's huge on appreciation because it gives them a moment to reflect and be like, well, you really do hold us all together, mom. Yes, we do. Like we really do. Um, yeah, so that's huge because I feel like mom guilt, like you said, is a huge thing. Even with us, like wanting to go to the gym, sometimes like moms feel guilty. So in order to take a trip is something like completely different. So thank you for touching on that. And then like for those who have spouses, what was like the initial conversations you had with your husband when you decided to travel alone? Because that might be like another obstacle or objection for
Yeah.
someone as well.
And I feel like this is probably different for everyone. So
Hmm.
you have to maybe kind of analyze your relationship with my
Yeah.
husband. I think he's always been just okay with me doing that. He just kind of goes with the flow. And I'm
Hmm.
very grateful for that, that he is open to that. I know maybe that's not everybody's case. So, yeah, a discussion ahead of time, maybe thinking about you want to take a trip on your own, maybe think about where you want to go and maybe for how long, like maybe do baby steps and kind of
Yeah.
work your way up. And I'm just grateful that he was okay with me going, even if it was for one night. Um,
Hmm.
now like this next trip, it's 5 nights, but we just kind of worked our way up. And I don't think there's ever been any friction about it. I think
Hmm.
maybe for him, it's having your wife go and recharge and have that time, because then she comes back home and she feels better, and
Hmm.
it's worth it. It's worth it for everybody.
Definitely. And so you keep talking about this next trip. Where are you going?
Okay, so just just to kind of backtrack a little bit, I have this thing where I want to go to all 50 states. I didn't give myself a deadline because I just don't want to do that. But so
Mhm.
I have 8 more states to go, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah, so this next trip is kind of part of that. And so I'm flying into Pittsburgh, and I'm
Mhm.
going south to check out a couple like Frank Lloyd Wright uh, homes, doing some tours because I love his work. And then I'm
Nice.
driving up to West Virginia. So West Virginia
Okay.
is the state that's left on my list. And I'm doing I'm doing some funny little things in West Virginia because there are things that I enjoy doing. That is the
Mhm.
nice thing about going solo, is you can choose the things you want to do that maybe you would not do with your kids or your husband. So when
Mhm.
I plan my solo stuff, it's usually I do things that maybe he would do with me, but most likely it's just stuff that I really enjoy doing, and that works
Mhm.
out really well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes, and that should be fun. And I'm actually on a goal, like you said, to actually stay in all 50 states.
Mhm.
And I want to say like I have 13 left. I had gave myself a deadline of 35. When I turn 35, I need to. But we're kind of getting closer and closer. So I may have to push that deadline just back a little bit.
Mhm.
But I think it's beautiful to experience again everything. And like you said, you can choose like what excursions and tours and things like that you want to like really dive into. And that's the beautiful thing about traveling, guys. Do stuff that you don't normally do at home. There's a lot of stuff in like the US that you may not have in your immediate area that if you just go to 2 states over, it's just a new experience. So traveling is huge. I absolutely love it. No, you're fine. So as a mom, how did you navigate being away from your kids while also honoring your need for personal space?
I think that kind of goes back to what we were talking about, is just knowing when I needed my own time to recharge and not having
Mhm.
that mom guilt. So it is a balance. I think that's why motherhood is kind of hard because you have to balance the needs of your kids and your family and also
Mhm.
needs for yourself. So I love to encourage women to just know it's okay to take time for yourself. And
Right.
think it's actually good for the kids. When we were talking about how the family kind of learning to navigate without mom around, it's not only like appreciation. To me, it's like learning life skills because you're
Mhm.
learning how to take care of yourself or get ready in the morning, get somewhere on time, ask for help, other like if mom's
Right.
not there. So I think there's just a lot of really good life skills for everybody in the family. And again, I'd have to remind myself of that these trips are good for everybody,
Mhm.
including myself.
Yes, yes. So what do you feel like your children have learned from watching you choose yourself in this way?
Enjoy listening to the trips that I take, but also I do have a daughter, and
Mhm.
I think it's good for her to see what her mom does and taking the time for herself or caring for herself, and that it's
Mhm.
okay to do that. And also seeing a dad who is okay with letting mom go do
Yes.
things for herself. So I really do think, again, it's just a lot of, um, just emulating
Mhm.
how a family can function and care for each other, and that it's not just all in on, for the mom, it's just all in on the kids till you're exhausted, and then when the kids
Right.
go to college, then maybe I'll recharge then, in 18
Exactly.
years or something. That
Exactly.
it's good to do it, you know little bit at a time.
Throughout.
Mhm.
And like you said, what you're doing is setting a good example because you're letting her know, like, because sometimes we only know what we know. So you're letting her know, like, in the future, like, if you come across somebody and you want to travel, like, it is possible, like, this is healthy, to have that, like you said, the companionship to allow you to be able to do this freely and not have to stress. So I think that's really, really good. So when you travel alone, can you let us know, like, what does reconnecting with yourself actually look like for you?
Yes, and I did start, when the kids were really young, just with like going for the walks or going to the coffee shop and just
Mhm.
having that time in my own head, whether it's journaling
Mhm.
or walking or just going and exploring a different area of the city. Sometimes
Mhm.
it can feel like you're on a little mini vacation, just driving
Yes.
across town. Yeah, or going and seeing something different.
Mhm.
So that kind of started, when they were younger, but now like taking these trips on my own and going to new places and kind of broadening my horizon,
Yeah.
I think it brings out some of my creativity, and it gives me time to just think through my own thoughts because when you're at home and there's like all these things you have to do and your checklist,
Mhm.
you're just going through the motions, and it really helps me just
Right.
slow down and just be in my own thoughts.
Okay. And so through your travels, like, was there any specific trip that you felt like was especially good for, like, healing or transformative?
I don't know if there's one specific trip. I have
Okay.
done a few that actually were a lot of the solo trips I've taken is just me hopping in the car and going. So,
Mhm.
like, I've gone to Sedona, I've gone to
Oh,
Santa Fe and Taos, and to me, especially Sedona, is just a very peaceful, relaxing, it's a
yes.
beautiful place. When I take trips, here's one thing. I love architecture, but I love
Mhm.
going to churches. I love finding like the big church in the city, or I have found a lot of very special churches in
Okay.
probably every state I've gone to. So,
That's neat.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's something different. Do
Yeah.
you take pictures, like, in front of the churches too?
I take pictures of the churches, yeah,
Okay.
and to go inside, some of them you can have tours, and, so I will look that up before I go and try to find,
Mhm.
one in the city that's their biggest or most popular or just beautiful architecture. Um, I went and visited one, I think it was last summer, that was near the Ozarks. and it was like,
Mm.
enclosed in trees and kind of tucked away back in like this
Oh,
little forest area. So
okay.
it's a fun adventure.
And see, that's another thing, guys, about traveling. Like, you can do whatever you want. Like you said, churches is your thing. Like, my son, he loves amusement parks. So every state we go to, he wants to go to amusement park. Me, like, I love Sedona. If you have not been to Sedona, Arizona, please go. It's
Mhm.
like 2 hours from Phoenix, but it's game changing. It's the most peaceful environment I have ever been in my entire life. And everybody just moves slow. Everybody's like happy. It's not like the hustle and bustle of Chicago or like bigger cities. Like, it's just even the air feels different. So when you travel to these places, like, really be present, because like, don't take it for granted, because a lot of people don't travel. So if you get the opportunity to travel, that's a blessing in itself. But make sure you're present wherever you go, and just really take in like what's around you, and it gives you appreciation for whatever you have at home. It gives you like hope for um other things that you can achieve. Like, it's a beautiful thing all around. There's really no negative aspects of traveling that I could ever think about.
Mhm.
Um, so when you travel by yourself, do you have any moments where you rediscover that maybe you got lost in motherhood or marriage?
I don't think so because I started my practice of doing it so early on, and that's one thing I'm
Yeah.
really grateful for. So, if there's some new moms or young moms watching this, like maybe that's something to think about where you can kind of carve out your own time. And it
Hmm.
doesn't have to be every week or all the time, but maybe
Right.
just special time that works out with the family, and just do it through the course of motherhood, that by the time
Hmm.
the kids are grown, because they do get busy and they go do their own things, and you have more and more time, once they get older, it's not going to be what do I do with my life now type of thing. I've heard that a few
Right.
times where it's just like everybody's gone, now what do I do? So
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I haven't really felt that, because I've kind of built, I've done my writing and I've kind of built on top of that. And,
Hmm.
I can just do more travel than I did with the kids at home.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. And so then, what do you feel like is a common misconception about solo travel, especially for married women or moms?
A misconception about traveling solo. Well, if someone asks me about my next trip, sometimes people will be like, why are you going to do that? Why are you going by yourself? I get it. It is not for everyone. I totally
Yeah.
understand that. And it doesn't mean that I don't want to be with my husband or travel with him, because
Yeah.
there are like three different kinds of trips. You have your family trips, super fun
Hmm.
with all the kids. We have our couple trips that are really, really fun. And then we have the solo trip. So to me, it's
Yes.
three different containers, and none of them are better or whatever. They're just different. So it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you because you have to travel solo. For me, I think it's I'm not having to align with someone else's schedule. I know a lot of
Hmm.
women wait until their friend or somebody's available to go with them. You might be waiting a long time. So
Yes.
that's a great reason to go solo. Maybe it is because you want to recharge. You just need time by yourself. Maybe it
Mhm.
is for healing, or maybe it's just to be able to breathe in your own space. So,
Mhm.
but some people do say, why do you want to go do that? And a great example of that is I went to Disney World last year.
Mhm.
That's something that I love to do with our family, and I went and did it by myself. And people are like, why are you going to go do that? It was so much fun. You know why?
Because I want to.
Yeah, because I did whatever I want. I ate whatever
Mhm.
I wanted. I went at my own pace, and it was a lot of fun.
And I believe it. And again, like, you're not working on someone else's schedule, because when you go with bigger groups, now you have to figure out something everybody wants to do, and just make sure everyone is included down to the food. So when it's just you, it's like, oh, I walked past this ice cream shop. Let me just stop here, because that's just what you chose to do.
Right.
So I absolutely love that for you. And even like, ladies, if it's something that you kind of want to grow to, maybe take yourself out to lunch by yourself, so you can get that feeling of just reconnecting with yourself and not having to have a conversation with like the person across from you. And again, it's nothing wrong with it. And it's more peaceful. And once you start doing it, you'll see, like, okay, let me do this more often, because you get a chance to think clearly, see clearly, and experience life in a clear state. And like Angela was saying, it's not like it's better than family trips or couples trips. It's just, again, in a category of itself. So once you start it, you'll be good. But if someone is curious but they're scared, what's a simple first step that you would suggest they take?
Well, and you talked about this earlier on that really wherever you live, there are
Hmm.
things around us that honestly we haven't explored before. So sometimes I'll
Hmm.
drive to a different part of Denver or maybe to the mountains. And I've
Hmm.
lived in Colorado my whole life. And it's interesting how I can find things that I've never seen before.
Yes.
So you do not have to get on a plane. I mean, you don't ever have
Mm-mm.
to get on a plane if you don't want to for a solo trip. You could just hop in your car, but you could just start out small, or maybe
Hmm.
it's a specific restaurant you wanted to go to, but your husband's not interested, and you know that you don't
Yes.
bring your kids there because maybe it's a special kind of restaurant. And I know
Hmm.
that some women, that's kind of a challenge, is the whole idea of eating alone. So just to kind of hone in on that, is that
Hmm.
is a really great first step, is going and enjoying a meal on your own and being
Hmm.
okay with that, because that really can build you up to the next step, which is maybe an overnighter or a
Yes.
longer trip. Hmm.
Yes. And then again, on these solo trips, I mean, like, you can get a resort in Arizona, you can do the spa. Like, a lot of these places have like everything where you may not necessarily even need to leave the hotel area, so just be strategic, plan it. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant or expensive. You can find like deals on Groupon, booking.com, like different things that is for different budgets. But like we were talking about, like, because I'm over here, I'm in Indiana, but I'm like 45 minutes from Chicago. Just everywhere in Chicago, and I've lived here forever, I haven't seen everything. Like, I haven't tried all the foods because it's just so much. Driving up to Michigan is like a 2-hour drive. It's beautiful. Like, they have beautiful beaches. So it's just like within your home area, if you're scared to like travel out of state, start where you are and then eventually like creep out a little bit. I haven't done a solo trip at all yet, and I haven't done one out of the country. I would be scared to do one out of the country by myself, but people do it.
Hmm.
But again, just do what's manageable for you. And again, you once you start the process, you'll probably never turn back. Like, because traveling is just a beautiful experience overall. But to close us out, Angela, what's one solo travel experience or destination you believe every woman should try at least once, and why?
So I'm going to say there probably isn't one experience or place that I would recommend going. And the reason why
Mhm.
I say that is because each trip that I plan is something that's very intentional and special to me. So
Okay.
what I would say is, if you're thinking about doing a solo trip, think about, you can even brainstorm on a piece of paper of places
Mhm.
you dreamt of going or that sound
Mhm.
fun to you, so that it's special to you. And you had mentioned how there's a lot of women that travel outside of the country, and that's true. I have talked to a lot of those women. It kind of blows my
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
trips they take, but that's special to them. So I know people talk about, oh, the bucket list and the things that everybody should do, before they die or whatever it is.
Mhm.
It's really what's special for you, or what would
Right.
make you happy, or what excites you. And
Mhm.
not feel like you have to go do what other people have told you to do. So I know that I've done some things that people are like, I would never go to that place. But it was so fun for me and such a fun
Mhm.
experience for me. So I would just suggest to sit down and brainstorm and make a list of places that you've always wanted to go to.
Mhm.
And it doesn't have to be across the ocean. It doesn't have to be
Mhm.
that far at all. It can be something very, very simple, and make it meaningful for you.
Yes.
That's something you can get excited and behind, and I think your family will support you as well.
Yes, and I love that. Like you said, meaningful. Whatever it is to you, because we're all very different individuals. It could be a pottery class. Like, it could be just you hiking. Whatever it is that you enjoy or you feel like you would enjoy, do it. But that is the end of our episode. So, Angela, let them know how they can follow you with your blog and then how they can get in touch with you just in case like they want to reach out to learn more about your experiences or just get like feedback.
Well, thank you. You can go
Mhm.
to traveltheworldconfidently.com, and
Okay.
there you can find posts on all sorts of things traveling solo for women. And you can also find on there my Facebook group. So if you want a little extra support when it comes
Mhm.
to brainstorming your first trip or asking questions about how to get started on your first trip, that's a really
Mhm.
great group to join. And
Okay.
all my other socials are on that website as well, so you can find me there.
Yes. Well, you have been an absolute pleasure. You have inspired me. I am going to book my solo trip for this year.
Good.
So yes, thank you. And of course, like I said, I'm following you. Anything that you need. Do you have like any special like promotions or anything coming up that you wanted to advertise for?
I do have a starter kit. It's just
Okay.
a freebie on my website. So when you go over to the website, it's just a solo starter kit. So if
Okay.
you're just getting started, you could go over there and it has kind of a way to break down how to prepare for that first trip. So that might be helpful for you.
Oh my God, I absolutely love that. Okay, and so I'll be reposting that too. So thank you again. You have been amazing. You have inspired me. So I know that you're going to inspire thousands.
Thank you.
And as always, you're welcome. As always, if you want to come on Women Empowerment Wednesday, please send me a message. Again, we want to create a platform that's for safe, that we want to create a safe platform that's here to just embrace everyone's confidence, self-esteem, and just really giving you an opportunity to like get out whatever you want to talk about, whether it's motherhood, travel, career. There's so many things, and women are phenomenal creatures. So I'm here for it. Thank you.